Hello again, lovers and friends. This is Taryn talking, and today I have an announcement. We have our first ever fan question! And today we're going to answer it. Today's question is brought to us by lnaught, who kindly gave us permission to read his question out loud. So, why don't we get to it? Our distinguished fellow lnaught's letter reads, "A while ago I read an article in a magazine that addressed a mentality among some people that there was a slowdown in new ideas and creativity as of late. The article covered a variety of possible reasons for this mentality, but left a few sentences to bring up how laws impact inventing new things. Indeed, one sentence stated that the West's intellectual property system was a mess, and implied that it was an example of regulations trying to assist innovations, but ending up accomplishing the opposite. I read in today's paper that the Apple versus Samsung lawsuit-a-palooza over patent issues is still continuing, with new things to squabble over, which could validate the magazine article's claim. But my question is, do either of you think that the sections of the magazine article mentioned above have any degree of truth? And if so, are there any fixes for it?" Well, lnaught, Phineas and I were having a talk about it the other day, and we decided that yes, the article does have some semblances of truth in it. In fact, it has quite a few semblances of truth. Now, let's sit down and have a think. What in the world has not been done before? Got anything? There are very few things out there that are within reason that we haven't done. So, logic dictates that without something new to do, we end up doing the same damn thing over and over again. Now, is this a bad thing? Well, in the opinions of some people, yes. It's horrible. Make up your own damn shit and leave mine alone. But, for others, it's actually a good thing. It means that we've actually explored all of the elements of our world and are now looking for something new to do. But let's hold on for a moment and actually go back and break down the problem bit by bit. The article says that we are losing creativity. What comes in place of creativity? Well, innovation. Now, many people will ask, aren't the two the same thing? And in a sense, they are. But creativity is coming from creation of new things, which we can't do anymore. There's everything out there, everything that you could want to make. Elves, dragons, giant fucking tentacle monsters in Japan. They're everywhere. And people have made them before you. You can give them different names, you can spruce them up a bit, make them look a bit different, but everything has been conceptualized and made into something already. So, what's there to do? Well, you have to take what's been given to you and create something fresh from that. Meaning you have to add elements. You have to affix a shiny flashlight on the dragon's head so that it looks different. You have to put your own spin on things. And in the end, you come out with something that most people would call new. Now, some people out there are gonna say, well, if we can't make anything new, what's the point in making anything at all? Well, to that I say, think about it. What in this world have we made that's really new? Elves. They were just pointy-eared humans with magical powers. And magic. What's magic? The ability to control shit without touching it. That's telekinesis, Kyle. But let's think about it again. What about dragons? Dragons are original, right? No, they're fire-breathing lizards with wings. Fire-breathing lizards with wings! Even the most interesting new things and terrifying things that we come up with on the internet. What are they? Components of the things that we see in everyday life. This means that the creation of new things was never really a creation of new things, but actually a melding of what we already had. So, when you go online and you look up your rocket-propelled sharks, and you scream in horror at the thought of rocket-propelled sharks coming through your windows, it's nothing new. It's all happened before. Now, trust me. I understand that it's annoying when you have to go online and constantly see that Apple and Samsung and whoever else are constantly bickering about, well, I made this hard drive first. Well, I made this kind of graphics technology first, and you can't use it. It's kind of like watching two kids squabble over a toy. And to stupid crap like that, I'd normally say, shut up! You both go into the corner until you can get along. Unfortunately, I don't yet have the power to totally just walk up to a corporation and tell them to shut up and sit in the corner. I'm working on it, though. But we all know what this bickering is about. It's about having a claim in the world, having a little piece of originality that you can call your own, and putting it out there into the world for other people to enjoy, but not to claim. That's why you see everyone bickering over, well, I made this, and you can't say that you made this, blah, 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 blah. Even if it's your own rendition of a song or fan art, even. It's still subject to copyrights and other things like that. And yes, our laws, meaning the laws in the US, do inhibit on creativity in the way that when you are trying to create something while basing it off of something else, you still have to worry about a whole ton of creative licenses, where you can make changes and where you can't. Heck, here on YouTube, people post things that aren't really theirs, and they even declare that things aren't theirs. But you still have people coming into YouTube, monitoring YouTube, saying, oh, this show is copyrighted. You can't post stuff on it here, because people want to make money. And that's really the only true reason behind it. Everyone wants to make money. But there does come a time when somebody actually does create something that is, in some way, shape, or form, new. For example, Foamy the Squirrel. It was some guy who heightened his voice heightened or sped up his voice, and then animated a cartoon squirrel. Now, animation has been done before, and cartoon squirrels, I'm sure there's some out there, and heightening your voice has obviously been done before. I mean, let's talk about Fred. And ranting was going on a long time before Foamy started his rants. But he did something different with different elements and molded them together to create something that was his own. Now, even with these moldings, these little creations that people make, this new small branch of creativity that we have, there's still a waning. And that's what I think your article is talking about. This waning in what limited creativity we had to begin with. Now, my example of this is the Twilight series. In Twilight, we have, what? Vampires and werewolves. And what did the author add in to make vampires and werewolves her own? Well, a bit of pixie dust for the vampires, and a adorable, cute puppy form for werewolves. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with that, and it's not saying that it's not creative, but it's not as creative as some of the things that people actually want these days, what people are looking for when they're looking for new things. And also, when you're creating something new, you have to take into account that people may not like your new thing, the change that you made to something that was old. So then you have to take into account, well, do I want to have people angry at me for augmenting something that was created by another person a long time ago that's now set in tradition, or do I want to create something a bit more obscure? Now, the obvious answer is probably, for some people, that you want to make something more obscure. But here's the thing. With obscurity, there comes a strange decline in views. Because when you make something obscure, people can't search directly for it. Just like my videos here on YouTube, they're rather new, so I don't have a lot of them, and therefore not many people are going to search me. People don't know who I am, they don't know what I do, and most people have already gotten things that they're interested in. So, when they do stumble upon me, I suppose I'll get more views and I'll get more people to talk to and more questions to answer. But, until that time, I am what you would call obscure. Once something is in the norm, like vampires, people can automatically click with that. They can automatically latch on to it and be like, vampires, that's something familiar to me. That's something that I like. And with that familiarity comes marketability. But when does that marketability run dry? When can you not make the same thing anymore? When do you have to buckle down and do something different? Well, that's up to your fans, your marketing base, who you are giving your product to. Or at least what you are making needs to be refreshing for you. Now, this means that when somebody is making something new, they have to be very tentative because they can't make something that's boring and the same old, but they can't make something so obscure and strange that the fans won't like it anymore. So, what's a remedy for that? Well, the remedy for that is currently unknown. We don't have any way of creating anything new. So, here's another alternative. Why don't you refine something that's already there? Why don't you make something your own? But not in the way of adding elements, but instead doing something traditional and doing it to an extreme. Like, let's say, beatboxing. Beatboxing has been around for a really long time. It's the act of creating music with your mouth. Now, there's tons of people who do it, and to varying degrees. So how do you create something new within that realm? Well, you get good at it. You create a skill for yourself, something that you can market and put out there. And when I say this, I'm actually referencing people that you can find here on YouTube. There's Hikakeen from Japan, who is a remarkable beatboxer. Then there's Daichi Beatboxer. He's also another very, very interesting beatboxer. There's people who do Digit, which is a form of dance which incorporates only using your hands and your fingers for the most part. And as a matter of fact, so many people out there are actually creating new forms of dance, or at least refining their own form of dance, be it techno, be it the shuffle, be it jump style, or just crumping, other things like that. So to finally give you a solid answer for your question, I think that the remedy for our losing our creativity is to become great at what we already have. We've made and transformed so many things. Now it's time to make those things badass. Well, lnaught, thanks for your question. I'm running out of time, so I'll wrap it up. This has been Terran Talking. If you have a question of your own or a subject for me to talk about with Phineas here, then leave a comment or a video response and we'll get right back to you. This has been Terran and Phineas. Over and out.